Okay, so this is 1/8 steel shaft, stainless steel shaft, easily obtainable from eBay. So we're going to cut 3 pieces here, each piece around 13 millimeters long. And the 3 pieces go into the 3 holes in the spokes of the center wheel. So I'll cut 3 of these and fit them to the center wheel as shown. So here we have the 3 of them cut, and we just insert them into the center wheel holes, which should be a snug enough fit to hold them in place easily. And then we put 3 washers onto the 3 pins, and then the 3 ratchet pawls fit onto the 3 pins. The washers keep the ratchet pawls away from just the wood to wood friction. So the 3 washers go on now, and then the 3 pawls. So basically this center wheel has the weight drum directly fitted to it with the ratchet at the back, which allows the drum to be turned inside the ratchet pawls anti-clockwise for winding, but when released they grip the pawls, it grips the pawls and drives the center wheel clockwise. Now here we have 5 30-seconds brass tube, and we cut 30mm length of that, because there's 5 layers in the drive drum, 4 discs and the actual ratchet piece itself, and these all fit onto the 5 30-seconds brass tube so that it can spin freely on the center wheel arbor. Anytime the stainless steel rod is cut, it's important to debore the ends of it with a foil or the belt sander. The same for the brass tube, and also foil the inside of the brass tube with the needle foil as said earlier. This is a piece of tube in the front disc of the drum that I had inserted earlier on, but it's too short. So here we go, we fit the discs onto the brass tube. Firstly without glue, just to check the fit. When you cut the brass tube, you can sand the end of it in a belt sander or foil it, but then get a needle foil to foil the inside of it to get rid of the burrs. So we put the drum together, which consists of the front large disc, 2 small ones, and then the rear larger disc, which helps cover over the ratchet pawls when fitted onto the arbor in front of the center wheel. So this is it all dry fitted together, and the next time you see it now it'll be glued together. So this will be it on the arbor. So now we glue the center wheel onto a small wood disc behind it. This allows us to set the center wheel so that it is no wobble in it as it spins with the arbor. And we glue this to the little disc behind it. And as the glue is setting, 5-minute epoxy, which is shown here. So we mix this, and as the glue is setting, it sets in 5 minutes, so it gives you time to line up the wheel, but also fast enough so you're not there all day trying to keep the wheel straight. The workshop is a little bit cold, so the epoxy's a bit slow coming out. So now a thorough mixing of the hardener and resin. And a reasonable amount of epoxy placed on the small wood disc, and then we will press the pieces together. Now this does 2 things. It helps us be able to set the center wheel without wobble on the shaft, but it also allows the gear itself to grip the center arbor. This arbor will be turning the minute hand, so it has to be driven with the gear. The drum then sits on this same shaft that is driven by the weight, which turns freely on it to allow winding. But turning the other way, the weight drives the center wheel. So as we turn it, we eliminate the wobble by just moving it in the direction desired or required. And keep checking this as the glue sets. And here we are now. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but obviously, you know, the closer the better. So we're not too bad at that. Now put the washers on. One washer on each of the pins. You really need 2 washers on the center arbor because the actual drive drum with the ratchet on the back of it needs to set slightly further away from the center wheel than what the thickness of the pawls are, so it's not rubbing off them, as you will see now. Now this is the drum assembly glued together, and just turn it around and you'll see it'll slot the pawls into place. And now the drum can turn freely in one direction. Probably be better if it was fitted together properly, so another go at that. So now the drum can turn one way freely, but when it turns the other way, it grips the pawls and drives the gear. So you can wind the drum anti-clockwise to bring the weight up, and then when the weight is released onto it, it drives the center wheel.